me twisted, but if I was a serial killer in a movie and I was stalking a deaf person, I would be faced with a tough decision. What would Freddy do? Yes. Do I treat my victim like a cat treats a mouse? Or do I act like an immature 10-year-old I can be and do what Freddy would do? Now, if you know me, I think you know the answer. And if you don't, I will leave this as your cliffhanger. Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional, and this is Dave from nERD, and I am accompanied by my wife Jenn, also from nERD. And on this episode of 31 Days of Halloween, we are talking about the movie Hush. So fire up your Jiffy Pop and meet us in the booth.
After suffering a bad breakup, writer Maddie has secluded herself from the outside world deep in the woods to write her next novel. One night, a crossbow-wielding serial killer comes across her home and quickly discovers that Maddie is unique. She's deaf and mute. And like a cat playing with a mouse, he chooses to draw out his kill with psychological torture. Only Maddie is not going to die without a fight.
This is not the first movie like this. There was a movie that came out called Mute Witness that happened over in Russia. Very good movie. It was considered one of the best movies of the year. So I was pretty excited when I learned the premise of this film because it hasn't been done in quite some time. And the mask was pretty badass.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think of this?
I love this movie. I absolutely loved it from the first time that I saw it. I think that Katie Siegel, who plays Maddie, did an excellent job playing someone who is deaf mute. It couldn't have been easy in a film, especially when you can hear and you can talk and you're not saying anything. So that's crazy to me. But also, she was just a badass female. Like, she was definitely not going out without a fight, and she was kicking ass.
Now, the killer doesn't even have any catchy names, no catchy catchphrases or anything like that.
He's the face, I think. Isn't that what they call him?
He's the man.
Oh, the man. That's right. He's the man.
He's the man. But it's played by John Gallagher Jr., and he is got to be grossly underrated because he pulled this off pretty damn good.
Yeah, he did. He was really good as the antagonist in this movie. He definitely had me hating him, but also really scared of him.
One of the things that really stood out for me in this film, the cat and mouse game, is his facial expressions. That was a whole another type of acting on itself to expand this character further, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, definitely. Mike Flanagan, who wrote this movie and directed, did he do both? He also did Dr. Sleep, Ouija Origin of Evil, Gerald's Game, and The Haunting of Hill House.
That is a tremendous resume in horror. All good stuff.
And Kate Siegel gets to have her name on every single one of those, except Dr. Sleep. Except for Dr. Sleep. But she is Mike Flanagan's wife, so I guess that's a perk.
Another one of those pairings, like Rob and Sherry Moon Zombie. And Paul W.S. Anderson and
Mila Jovovich.
Yes. And screwing up the entire Resident Evil universe.
Well, that's just because it's Mila. I like Kate Siegel better.
Yeah. Yeah, she's good. She was very good in this role.
Yes.
Kind of didn't recognize her from, put the pieces together with the other stuff. She looked a little bit different. Or
she
maybe
did. No, she did look a little bit different. She changed some. And John Gallagher, I always have a hard time picking him out. Every time I see his face, I'm like, where do we know him from? He changes his look every single role, which, again, we enjoy that because It means that they totally have versatility and they're good at what they do. Like when he can look like a completely different person, not just a different character.
Yeah. Good suspense in this movie.
Yes.
It takes place at night.
Yes.
So that adds to everything.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good camera work in here that enhances the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically about two people. So for 2
Mm-hmm.
people to carry a movie that long and keep you engaged and keep the suspense up, that says a lot.
Yes. So since the main character was deaf mute in this film, there were 70 minutes of complete silence in this film.
Was there?
Yes. But that's how good the film was that you don't even realize.
Not combined, I guess, in separate parts?
Yeah. Total altogether, there were 70 minutes of silence. And when there needed to be, where Mike Flanagan felt like there should be words, he played some kind of music to break the silence. But yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes. Kate and Mike actually role played each scene in their own house before writing it down. And then it enabled them to better envision how the characters would really react in the face of danger. And they came up with the idea for this movie on a date. They were on a date in 2014.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's an interesting date.
That's an interesting role play.
Right? Yeah. And the movie was filmed in 18 days.
18 days.
18 days. But I guess when there's not a lot of talking, right? I mean, because that's a lot of what goes into.
But there's stunts in this movie that are done. And
there is.
Yeah. Wow.
But I think talking takes a lot because, you have to do reshoots because people mess up their lines. And, when you don't have a lot of talking.
Yeah, I guess.
Makes it a little bit easier. I still think that 18 days is incredible.
Yeah, that is. And it's a good quality film, too. I don't know why this one never made it to the theaters, to be honest with you. It's a gem that was...
I don't know, because his other movies make it to the theater.
Yeah, just crept its way onto Netflix, and it draws you in just with the picture of it, which is him in the mask staring through the window. And it's just like, wow, this looks like it could be something.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of get tired of seeing all these masked killers in films because, one, the mask kind of reminds me of Behind the Mask a little bit. It seems like it's inspired from that. And it isn't, but I'm tired of seeing the masked serial killers. You want to see something different. Mm-hmm. But this is good. This pulled it off. The mask looks good. The way he acts in it, he takes it off. He doesn't wear it the whole entire time. Yeah. So it's done really good.
And I think the whole mask and taking off of the mask is really important because remember, that's all Maddie has is her sight. She can't speak and she can't hear. Mm-hmm. So I mean, her sight is her biggest. That's what she has. That's her biggest sense. So the fact that he has the mask and then he takes it off, I think that's like a big deal.
Yeah. So Freddy Krueger, he would have been dancing around behind her, making all these faces. And I kind of feel that the way John Gallagher did this, he was doing it, but not as an immature 10-year-old, but he was doing it in the psychological way. Because
oh yeah, he definitely played with her. Yeah.
Again, it comes down to the facial expressions because you can see the satisfaction and joy in his eyes and his face, like you could see with Freddy Krueger when he was getting ready to mess with the deaf kid in that film.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that Mike Flanagan's probably a Stephen King fan.
Gerald's Game.
Dr. Sleep and Gerald's Game.
Yep. Yeah, all good films to watch. Gerald's Game, Dr. Sleep is big in this house here. And then The Haunting on Hill House. It's a little slow to get into it, but it's good. Mm-hmm. For me, it's not worth a rewatch. And in fact, I didn't really even care about the second season of that coming out. But all good stuff to watch. So are you a fan of his work or any of the people that are in this movie here? Gerald's Game is pretty good. It's another one of those sleeper films that went straight to streaming, so that's also worth checking out. We're not reviewing it this time around, but maybe next Halloween we'll review it. So what is your rating on this film? What is your review on this film? And what other films do you like that are similar to it? Did you see Mute Witness? If you didn't, check it out before you see this one because it is a little bit older. So check that out first and then follow it up with Hush. Should be a great back-to-back set of films to watch.
And what are your go-to films around this time of year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you go for like the big basics, or do you do what we do sometimes and throw in some smaller films?
Yes.
Because those are good to watch.
Definitely, definitely. And don't forget to
Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and share.
Yes, definitely share. So hopefully you're enjoying your 31 days of Halloween with Jenn and myself and the other members of nERD as we're delivering you new content for this month, which is almost going to be half, if not more, of the videos released in this month than we've released since we started up under the new title. So until tomorrow, see ya.
See ya.